Today on 100 Huntley Street, it's all about kindness. Kindness towards those who are different than us, kindness towards those who feel overlooked or forgotten, and we remember God's kindness towards us by sending His Son Jesus. There's lots of hope ahead. Stay with us.
Thank you so much for joining us 2 days before Christmas. Are you ready?
You know what? I am ready, and this is kind of an anomaly for me. I've actually been ready for a while, if you can believe it.
Really?
Yeah, what about you?
Wow.
Have you been ready?
Yeah, actually today I'm picking up my last gift that just came in the mail. Gonna wrap it. Yeah.
That was nice to say. It came in the mail, so we're so thankful that that's all back up and running.
Right, it was Purelator or something like that, but still, okay. I ordered it. It took a while. I was a little worried, but it came today, so we're
you're
all
ready.
good. Yes.
Hey, do you find during the Christmas season that people tend to be a little more patient? Not with parking lots at the mall. Let's not even go there. But in general, do you find people just there's more of a kindness in the air this time of year? Do you see that?
Not patience. I do not find patience to be a thing at this time of year, but kindness, truth. And I was just hearing on the radio about this woman who had somebody bought a bunch of gift cards at the coffee shop she goes to and just had them handed out. And because they knew her so well there, they actually gave her a gift card. And then later on that day, she went for coffee again, and the person in front of her paid for it. And I was like, that's amazing.
Nice.
I haven't had anything like that happen to me, but still, I think it's amazing, and I find it completely inspiring. And you know what else is inspiring? A group of kids in some Ontario communities are making holiday cards for seniors. So this came out of Meals on Wheels, which is an organization that delivers meals to seniors or people with disabilities that can't get out or can't cook for themselves. And then these kids jumped on board.
And I love that it's kids. We know as adults that we should be nice and we should be kind, but these kids decided to do it on their own. And there's this initiative called the Kindness Card Campaign. And so far, these kids have made just over 550 homemade cards, and then they're going to deliver them to the seniors. And I think that is so healthy, for the mental health, the emotional health of a senior, people who don't maybe usually get a lot of visits, and sometimes they feel forgotten. And I said in the opener, today's show is going to be about kindness and being kind to seniors, who have lived these incredible lives and have given us so much, and then they kind of get pushed to the side sometimes. So I love that these kids are stepping up and making these seniors feel loved and remembered.
Okay, yes. So I love Abby Cooper. She's 11. She said, when I started making cards, I started realizing that not everyone has a way to celebrate Christmas the way I do. And I wanted to make sure the elders in this community who don't have a lot of people around them during the holidays know that people are thinking of them and care. There is a special connection, I think, between kids and seniors.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And, the scriptures are very clear that we need to honor those who have come before us. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 32 says this. It's really nice. It says, stand up in the presence of the aged, show respect for the elderly, and revere your God, for I am the Lord. I mean, that's a beautiful command from the Lord. Stand in the presence of the elderly. Give them respect, give them due for what they have done, in the past. I think it's beautiful.
I have a particularly soft heart for people that are a little bit older, elderly, because all my grandparents died by the time I was 12. And so I always felt robbed. Whenever someone would say, I'm going to see my grandmother or grandfather, I'd be like, I don't have one. Yeah. So I don't know. There's just something really special to me about them. Their stories, their wisdom.
Their stories. I agree 100%. My grandfather died a few years ago, and, he was born in Portugal, raised on a small little island, and he used to tell me when he was 5 years old, they took him out of school, and his job was to move 100 cows from one farm to the next, and he lost a cow one time, and he hid for 3 days under a hill because he was so afraid that he was going to get in trouble. I'm like, at 5 years old, this guy was moving cattle, and I think, oh my goodness, people lived differently back in the day. I love those stories.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but when I was in university, we had to do an extracurricular thing to help people. And so one of the things that you could do was adopt a grandparent. And I was like, yes, that was going to be mine, totally. So I adopted a grandmother, but she couldn't speak. So she was bedridden, couldn't speak, but she was a former FBI agent. And I just was like, what is your stories? I want to know, your world. Yeah, what a cool thing. You think about at that time, for her to be a female FBI agent, she was an amazing woman. I totally wish I could have known what was happening inside of her, but I would just go and read her the Bible and sit with her and hold her hand. And I don't know, strangely enough, without that conversation, it was still really meaningful.
Just showing a little love to that group, and there's another group of people that we care so deeply about, and those are our Indigenous communities across Canada. Here's a special report.
Welcome to the Great Trail. These are travel and trade routes, water routes that extend right across our great nation, many of which were created by Indigenous peoples for seasonal travel and trade. Now, this particular spot is where the Algonquin and the Huron people settled, known as Muskoka. And the term Muskoka, legend has it, is that it was named after the Chippewa tribe chief Musqueam Yuki, whose name actually means to not turn back in battle. Now, are these traditional ways of life still going on today, or have they been extinct? Let's find out.
If you look at our history, if you look at who we are, before we got connected with the Europeans, the white man, is who we are, living off the land, doing the things of the land. Our people, they always know there's somebody up there. They always know, they call Kisimantu, the great creator. That's our language. Somebody that owns everything. The person that owns everything, or either the great creator. Me and my dad went through these trails, teaching me the things that I need to know to survive 4 generations of walk here. Sometimes you can almost picture your ancestors. You can almost picture them like coming around the corner. You might look at a certain place where you set a trap, and your mind goes back to that trap 30, 40 years ago. I know I had a snare there, and it's gone. You look at a certain things, what our people have used for many generations. Hey, there it is. How to build fire here. What kind of medicine you pick out of here. There's a lot of different medicine that you look. Right now, you look at that tree over there. There's a herb, chaga, that our people have used it for many, many generations. It'll clean your system, it fights cancer, and also after a hard day's work, as a musher, trapper, fisherman, you boil like tea. I don't know, good 5 minutes. You just drink it up. Go to the last drop. Drop, drop. As a born-again Christian, I believe these herbs are given to us by the Creator God for our own use, to use. And I'm trying to carry on what my mama and my aunt, my late auntie and my mom, the herbs that they know, I'm trying to pass on to the younger generation. So I share it freely, whoever asks me. This is where we find our deep peace, is where we find our peace with God. We drop an Indian in the bush. This is who I am, out in the land here. This is where we learn to survive.
Now these trails speak of hope, joy, life, family, legacy, and resiliency. So what are you waiting for? Get out and enjoy some nature.
Wow, what incredible visuals, and so cool to see how, keeping those traditions alive that have been passed down from generation to generation in Indigenous communities. And I know a lot of elders in those communities are worried that it's going to die out, that many young people don't have those skills and they're trying to pass them along. And there's that connection again with the seniors and the young people. Yeah. And I think it's so important. Joe, I was up near I think I was above the Arctic Circle at this point.
Oh, wow.
In the Northwest Territories, in a little community, and interviewing these elders who were the only keepers of their language. Wow. So trying to keep their language from dying out. And that's the story in so many places in the world and here in Canada as well, that some of these elders are the only ones that speak it still. And the knowledge of that, of so many things, is passing away with that generation.
Well, like you said, it's amazing that, I love seeing the connection between the elders and the young people. And in that piece, he says something that faith is very important, is very much a part of their culture. And even though you might, use a different name or a different thing, there's this belief in this creator God, this creator being. And the Bible talks about every single one of us having that God-shaped hole. We all need him in our lives. And even if you don't know what his name is today, he wants to make himself known to you. And so, we have Christmas trees and all the stuff around us. But all of it is because God sent his son, Jesus, to die. Well, not just to be born, but to live a life that we could exemplify. And he also lived a life so that he could die for us to restore that relationship between God and man. So wherever stage you're at in this life, we pray that that God-shaped hole gets filled this holiday season, that you would move beyond the tinsel and the trees, and that you would find the real meaning of Christmas this year. And that's Jesus, hands down.
100%. Such a good word, Pastor Joe. Well, now we have some beautiful music for you. Here is Sadie Shepherd with Wholeheartedly.
You said seek you, I will find, but I struggle in the waiting. And you said call you, and you'll hear, but my strength is slowly fading. I stand on all your promises. Your plans are good. When I look for you wholeheartedly, I know that I will find you. And what I find, Lord, amazes me, 'cause you're always for me. And you have called me, I will go wherever you may lead. And you have plans that I can't see, but God, you go before me. I stand on all your promises. Your plans are good. And when I look for you wholeheartedly, I know that I will find you. And what I find, Lord, amazes me, 'cause you are always for me. When I look for you wholeheartedly, I know that I will find you. And what I find, Lord, amazes me, 'cause you're always for me. You've never let me down. You've always been
This Christmas Day, we are your home for hope. Join us for a special 1 hour 100 Huntley Street, where stories of faith and inspiration remind us of the true reason for the season, Jesus.
Let me ask you a question. Do you ever feel invisible? You know, like no one sees you. The room could be full, but you still feel unseen. Well, you're not alone, because the Bible is full of people who felt unseen. But here's the great part. God noticed them. I want you to take, for example, a woman named Hagar in the Bible. You know, she was in the desert, she was abandoned, she was heartbroken, thinking, does anyone care? And then God shows up and he calls himself El Roi, which means the God who sees me. I love, that's his name. It's not just who he is, that's his very essence. He sees you. And he saw her pain, he saw her tears, and he saw her loneliness. And he didn't just see her, he made her a promise. And then there's this woman who's at the well. We all know her story. She was avoiding everyone because she was carrying a lot of shame, and she was carrying it like a backpack, and everybody knew that she was carrying it. But Jesus met her there, and he started a conversation that no one else would have had. No one else would have talked to her, but Jesus saw that she was feeling overlooked. He told her everything about her life, and he didn't condemn her. But instead, he talked to her because he wanted her to be set free. She ran back to her village saying, come meet the man who knows me. And let's not forget Zacchaeus. He climbed the tree just to get a glimpse of Jesus, probably thinking, you know what, no one's going to notice me anyways. But Jesus stopped. He looked right at him and he said, Zacchaeus, come down. I'm having dinner at your house tonight. And here's the truth. You're never unseen. God knows your name. He knows your story, and he knows your struggles. And he's walking with you even when it doesn't feel like it. So please don't give up. Hagar found hope in the desert. The woman at the well found love in her shame, and Zacchaeus found belonging in a crowd. And you can find all that in God, who never stops seeing you. And we see you. God sees you. We understand that this season can be difficult for some folks. And so we ask you to send in some of your prayer requests. And you guys answered. And from all across the country, people like this lady are saying, please, I need healing. Other people are praying and asking God for their families to come back to faith. Whatever it is, please call us today. Feel free to call the prayer line. People will pray with you. And the truth is, people need to feel seen. And here's the story about how one church in Toronto is helping people just doing that.
Lost 2 daughters and a granddaughter. Me and Pearl come by here all the time. So she lives up on 180 Sudbury. I got kicked out of her place when she was in the hospital. But she died from dirty blood, bad needles in the hospital. I lost her sister 6 months before that to the drug. And almost a year to the day, Pearl's daughter to the drugs too. I just started doing art. Emotional art. You never know when the bombs go off. I miss my girls.
We had the idea to hold an art exhibit because we have a number of people at the Dale who count themselves artists, but we also discovered that there were so many people who wanted to learn how to engage in art, and we've noticed how important it is to find your voice, especially when maybe that's been stunted by other things. And so art, creates that opportunity to give expression to things that might be held deeply.
Well, I was born with the the ability to do art because I was born with a talent. The talent comes from God. He gave me the talent to do artwork. So I've been doing artwork since I was a child. That's why you see a lot of blue in my picture, because my favorite color is blue. Sky blue, water blue. There's a lot of blue in my pictures, but that's it, you know, and the seagulls in the sky, you know. Lighthouse, just off Nova Scotia.
The Phoenix piece, it's a 6-foot canvas, acrylic on canvas. My first 20 pieces were pencil, so there's some pieces there that are pencil crayon. The Canadian non-abstract, a lot of people in Parkdale love that piece. This came actually from the 70s from New York, the graffiti, so I loved the pattern. My grandparents taught me how to do art when I was 6 years old. So, and then I was in the workforce for 15, 20 years. Then I came here, and I've been here 23 years, doing a lot of art.
We all, as people, share a common humanity, and that we are really not to be reduced to our circumstances. And so oftentimes people are, right? They're considered the homeless or, you know, any number of things like that. And what we're trying to do is to see and celebrate the whole person. We recognize that there are very tangible needs that people require, of course. But we also notice that when it's only about that something is lost for people. And so at the Dale, we really want to invite people into full participation of our community. We recognize that when somebody is consistently on the receiving end of charity, which, you know, often they do need, what happens is that person might lose the belief that they have anything of value to give. We're all built to give and receive. And so through this art program that the Dale's been doing, it really has been one of those touch points for people that they have something to give and also receive in community as we create art together.
I look at the experience of making art differently as something as a passion and something that's a gift from God. This is an interesting piece because it's a piece that I took by chance, and I felt like this was an experience that I could relate to, a situation of being hungry and maybe needing something to eat, also being homeless at some point in my life, not being able to not being sure of where my next meal would come from. Also an experience of witness, having people walk by and not say a word or not give a hand. Somebody who was dependent, say, on somebody else's mercy.
When we identify or embrace the love of God, it fills us in such a way that we can then express that same love to others. And we know that life is hard. It's really difficult generally, and without that kind of love, without the call to loving our neighbors as ourselves, that it's really hard to maneuver through. And so we do believe that we can be light in the darkness.
I mean, what an incredibly Jesus-ly ministry, you know, seeing the unseen, remembering the forgotten. It's just so powerful. I'm so thankful that we could visit them and introduce them to you guys, to our friends and our family. You know, one of the artists, Cheryl, had this really amazing painting. I'd love to have it in my office. I think he said it was like 6 foot tall, of a phoenix. And the phoenix is actually very symbolic because we know the mythology behind it is that the bird, you know, lands in a nest and then at the end of its life it bursts into flames and it dies. And then out of the ashes it's born again and then it flies off to a new life. But what's interesting is that in the mythology, when the bird dies, it doesn't go to a new pile to start a new life. It uses the ash. It means all the experience, all the failures, all the successes, all the hurt, all the pain. That's a part of who they are as they rise again. And these dear folks who are struggling with homelessness, sometimes they feel like, man, they're ash. Everything has been taken away. And this ministry gives them an opportunity to get born again. It gives them a chance to express. And I know that a lot of people in this Christmas season, Cheryl, are going through difficult times, and they feel like, man, it's over. Everything's burned to the ground. But like that phoenix, there's a newness in life, in that experience that you've been through. And we know that this holiday season, God's heart is for you.
I think one of the things that Aaron said is like, don't reduce people to their circumstances. And I think we do that to ourselves. You know, I am this, I have a broken that, I made a mistake here, I am in this circumstance. God doesn't see you like that. And I think what was so beautiful about that piece is it showed the dignity that God gives every one of us. And I just want you to know today that just like Joe said earlier, God sees you. He loves you. He wants to give you dignity. He wants to make you feel seen. He wants you to forgive yourself and others that have brought you to this place. And if you need support this holiday season, call our prayer lines, 1-866-273-4444. We want to be there with you whatever you are facing this holiday season.
Amen. God sees you.
Thank you for your ongoing support of Crossroads, a supporter-funded nonprofit organization and member of the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities. Thanks to faithful people like you, we are able to continue producing 100 Huntley Street. You can write to Crossroads, P.O. Box 5100, Burlington, Ontario, L7R4M2, or visit crossroads.ca to learn more about our programs.
This month, Crossroads is excited to offer you the book, The Hope of Heaven by Sheila Walsh.
Hi friends, Sheila Walsh here. I'm thrilled to share something close to my heart, and that's my brand new book, The Hope of Heaven, How the Promise of Eternity Changes Everything. You know, after years of writing, this one has impacted me like no other. The Hope of Heaven dives deep into questions we all have. What will heaven be like? Will I recognize my loved ones? Even, will my pets be there? I know how much we all long for answers. I pray that when you read the book, you'll embrace the hope of our eternal forever home, and it'll transform how you live every day.
This book is our thanks for your ministry support. With a gift of $40 or more, or when you become a new monthly partner, request your copy of The Hope of Heaven. Call 1-800-265-3100 or visit crossroads.ca/heaven.